Hello, good morning, everyone. My name is Stephanie Gutierrez Valdez, and I'm the Outreach Coordinator for the Contractors State License Board. Thank you to the Office of Speaker Rivas for coordinating and hosting this event, and as well as thank you to each and every one of you for choosing to come and spend your morning here learning about how to protect yourself from various senior scams. So I'll be talking a little bit about what seniors should know about construction scams. So a little bit about the Contractor State License Board. We're a California Consumer Protection Agency, so we fall under the umbrella of the Department of Consumer Affairs. We license nearly 285,000 contractors in 44 different classifications. So think of as a classification as a type of construction specialty. So you got your landscapers, your plumbers, your roofers, and just to name a few of the types of classifications that we license. In addition, we do investigate and follow up on consumer complaints and investigate unlicensed contractor activity throughout the state of California. Why are seniors targeted in construction scams? So first of all, seniors are trusting, which can make them vulnerable. So for the most part, your generation is very nice, very trusting, and unscrupulous and unlicensed individuals want to use your trusting nature to their advantage. Unlicensed contractors will try to manipulate seniors, and this is because scammers are attracted to your life savings and pensions. They know that you've worked your entire lives and have money saved up. Your home may be paid off, and they want to take a piece of that for themselves. So how can you avoid and protect yourself against these construction scams? First of all, don't answer your door to strangers selling their services. So oftentimes you get a knock on your door and this individual will say, "Hello, I'm in the neighborhood and I see that you could use your drywall repaved, right?" And, to sweeten the deal, they'll also say, "I just finished a project with your neighbor Bob, and he really liked my work." And you're going to think to yourself, "Well, I like Bob. I trust Bob's judgment. So if he used you, then you're probably good." So you're going to want to engage in their services. But the thing is, licensed and reputable contractors don't have time to solicit their services. These individuals knocking on your door tend to be unlicensed contractors, and unfortunately, if you engage with these unlicensed individuals, there's very little protection and recourse if things go wrong. Just say no and keep saying no. Remember, no is a complete sentence. You don't need to explain or elaborate why you're saying no. Just say no. Finally, don't make any cash payments. So a lot of the times they'll say, "I need you to give me cash." Or I'll even, reduce the price if you give me cash right now. And, you're like, okay, this makes sense. You're going to give them the cash. But the thing is, if you're going to give them cash, is there a chance they're going to come back and do the work? No, right? They're going to be halfway to Disneyland with your money. So if you are going to be paying individuals, consider doing it with a credit card, a cashier's check, or a check, because there's more protection and recourse available with your bank. Get everything in writing. Remember, verbal agreements are not binding. If an individual wants to say, "No, trust me on this," it doesn't need to be in writing. It's just our mutual trust. Full stop right there. You're going to want to stop and back away. Get everything in writing. And finally, down payments can only be 10% or $1,000 of the contract price, whichever is less. Regardless of if it's a $100,000 project, $50,000 project, it can be 10% or $1,000, whichever is less. And the thing is, these individuals have gotten sneaky, right? They're going to say, "Well, your down payment is one payment," but then they're going to also say, "I need you to give me money for the materials or the labor to pay my guys," before the work has even begun. And that's the thing. You're not paying for their materials. You're not paying for the labor. You're paying for the product itself. So you always want to check the contractor license number to make sure it is current and in good standing with the Contractor State License Board at our website or by calling 800-321-2752. if you've been scammed, the first thing you want to do is you want to report it. Scammers are counting on seniors being embarrassed and hesitant to report that they were scammed and taken advantage of. But that's the thing. If no one's reporting it, they're gonna keep doing it. So you want to contact the Contractor State License Board again by calling us, visiting our website, filing a complaint on the homepage, or email cslbinfo@cslb.ca.gov, and an individual will be in contact with you to talk about next steps. So here are some tips for hiring the right contractor. First of all, you always want to get at least 3 bids. And this is important. So when you're talking to that individual, you're going to get their quote, right? And let's say in this scenario, you get a quote from 2 different contractors charging you $5,000 for this one project. But then the third individual quotes you $10,000. And because you've already gotten those prior 2 quotes, you know this third individual is overcharging you. But what if that third individual quotes you $2,500, right? You're thinking to yourself, this is a great deal, half off, this is really great. But the thing is, it's cheap for a reason. They're probably not going to do the job right or use substandard material. So you always want to beware. Ask to check the contractor's pocket license and a current photo ID. So on the screen right there, you'll be able to see an example of what a contractor's pocket license should look like. And you're going to want to make sure the names match a current photo ID. If Mr. John Smith doesn't look like Mr. John Smith, he's probably not. Secondly, check the expiration date. Are they still an active contractor? And finally, look at the classification. Remember how I mentioned earlier there are 44 different classifications. But the thing is, not all classifications can work on the same work. So if an individual is a licensed plumber, but he's bidding on a full remodel, full stop, that individual should only be bidding and working on projects with the plumbing component. Ask for proof of their liability and workers' compensation insurance. And you want to be aware, if anyone tells you, I don't need workers' compensation insurance, I don't have employees. The thing is, someone's got to do the job. And what if they have employees or employees, right? Someone they get off of Craigslist, Facebook, wherever it may be, and those individuals get hurt on your property. There's going to be medical bills they need to pay, potential pain and suffering, and they're going to go after the homeowner. To protect yourself from being in that vulnerable and compromising situation, verify they have that insurance. And you can do so by reaching out directly to the Contractor State License Board, or you can even reach out to the Department of Insurance. Make sure to get a detailed written contract before you make a down payment and before work begins. And everything should be detailed in terms of the discussion that you guys had. So you want to know, are there going to be any subcontractors working on the project? The subcontractor's information as well as a license number should be in that contract, as well as a payment schedule. At what point am I going to be making these payments? Or is it going to be a lump sum payment that I'm going to make at the end? That should be in the contract. As well as, are they pulling permits? Are they giving you a warranty? Questions like that should be addressed in the contract. Don't let payments get ahead of the work. Don't pay for work that has not been completed to your satisfaction. And the thing is, before you make that final payment, you want to walk around with the contractor and inspect the product. And I know like some seniors may not be physically able to or feel comfortable walking after that contractor. In that case, ask for a trusted friend or family member to be there with you. And if there's any issues that they're refusing to address, before you make that final payment, reach out to the Contractor State License Board for further assistance. Again, pay no more than 10% of the total contract price or $1,000, whichever is less. And you want to make sure you keep all project documents, payments, photographs in a job file. And this is important because seniors have 4 years from the date of construction to file a complaint. But not only do you not want to wait the full 4 years, you want to address and report it as soon as it becomes an issue. But during that process, someone from CSLB is going to want to ask to see any contracts or photos and any proof basically of the project to assist in their investigation. Finally, who here is over 65? Phew, phew. Okay. I know, I get it. So anyone 65 or over has a 5 business day right to cancel any contract, and this is per California law. For everyone else, it's 3 business day. But during this time, you want to make sure you don't let any work begin. Use this time to talk to a trusted friend or family member about your contract, about the work, to make sure it is right for you. Now, solar is a big thing, right? You hear it all the time, newspaper, radio, TV. Everyone's telling you, get solar, right? But the thing is, while it's great, it's a great thing for some, it's probably not great for everyone else. And you want to consider the length of time in your home. If you're not going to be living in your home within the next 5 years, either you're going to sell it, whatever it may be, potentially it's not a right investment for you. And this is because it takes time to recoup any cost savings associated with solar, particularly if you're financing solar, since you do have to pay it off before you can sell your home. And oftentimes it creates an undue burden and hassle for seniors who are just looking to downsize. Secondly, look at the roof direction. Some roofs are not ideally situated for solar. And also look if there's any tall buildings or trees blocking that. If so, potentially solar isn't right for you. But ultimately, you want to do the math with solar and look at monthly statements. Calculate, how much am I truly saving with solar? Is it right for me? Because while solar may be great for multi-generational families or large families, with seniors, particularly if it's just you, yourself and your partner, you guys may not necessarily use a lot of electricity consistently to justify solar. So just look at that. And if you go on our Solar Smart homepage on our website, we do have various resources and tools for consumers to just really look and understand what solar is, as well as if it's right for you. Remember, solar, like most things in life, it's not free. If anyone tells you otherwise, you want to back away. Don't engage, because there are some financing programs such as Pace, Hero, Chief, Real that advertise no monthly payments, no interest, whatever it may be. You know, they really sweeten the deal in terms of how they sell these programs. But the thing that some people or a lot of these people don't tell you is, one, they have high interest rates. Secondly, they're tied to your property tax. And the thing is, when seniors are living on a fixed income and they're used to their property tax being around the same price point year after year, and that's what they save and budget for. But when it's double or triple what you're used to paying, seniors aren't prepared for that, and a large majority of seniors have lost their homes because of predatory solar sales. So just beware. But how can you protect yourself from solar fraud? First of all, don't let payments get ahead of the work. Remember how I said you wanted to do a final walkthrough before you make that final payment. Same goes for solar. And the thing is, solar, you see the solar panels on your roof and you're thinking to yourself, wow, it's installed, looking nice up there. There we go. Final payment. But, you know, a lot of people, 6 months, a year down the line, they realize, why am I not seeing any savings? I installed solar. Well, it turns out that contractor never installed the solar panel to the grid. So they were not saving anything with solar. Get everything in writing. Make sure you understand what products are going to be there. Again, any subcontractors, any warranties, that should all be documented. Finally, make sure you understand the contract terms. So there was a complaint that we received from an elderly lady in the Central Valley, 94, 95. She had a solar salesperson knock on her door. She was nice. She talked to him. Right? And then he tells her, you know, solar is great. You'll be really saving a lot. It's a good investment, on and on, right? And when he was talking to the lady, she spoke Spanish, he spoke Spanish. But when it came time for her to sign the contract, it was in English. So we know how honest salespeople are, right? He told her everything. No, not really. And unfortunately, that lady lost her home because of this predatory salesperson. Also, if you're going to be signing a digital electronic copy, and it's becoming the norm, common, I've been to a few home shows, and that's primarily what they push. It's because it's paperless and easier for the contractor. But if you're going to be signing anything electronically, make sure you get a printed copy of the contract. And this is because, especially with all those tools online, it is very easy for an unscrupulous individual to digitally alter the contract after you've already signed it. So protect yourself and get that printed copy for your records. Finally, a big thing that we're also seeing is the DocuSign. What that is, it's a one button you press, and the entire contract populates with your signature, initials, right? Everything's straightforward, easy. But the thing and the danger of those DocuSign is what happens when you press it is you sign the entire contract, the entire document, and that includes the certificate of completion. A lot of seniors have done that, and before any work has begun, they've already signed that certificate of completion stating that that contractor is done with the work and they're entitled to the entire payment, regardless of if they did the work or not. So to avoid being in that situation, you want to identify that certificate of completion and make sure you do not sign that until the entire project is finished and connected to the grid. You always want to check a license and hire licensed contractors for jobs worth $500 or more for labor and materials. And you want to be careful. Like, there's some people that are tricky. You know, they're saying, oh, I'm not a licensed contractor, I'm a licensed handyman. The thing is, there's no such thing as a licensed handyman. It's a licensed contractor. And if anyone tells you that they're not licensed, but they're bidding on a project over $500, and even if they split it up, you know, $400 for part A, $400 for part B, $400 for part C. No, they have to be a licensed contractor. To verify that they are, you can go on our website and check a license right there. And then you can also use it to see if they have insurance, as well as if there's any disciplinary actions taken against that contractor from CSLB. You'll also be able to see a personnel list of all individuals working under that license for that company. And earlier I mentioned get at least 3 bids. And while the best course of action to do so is ask someone that you trust, a neighbor, family member, who they used for a contractor for a past job, that may not necessarily be the case for everyone. But in doing so, using the Find My License Contractor tool, type in your zip code and the classification that you're looking for, and a list of licensed contractors will populate for you to contact. So I want to leave you with this quote from David Fogg, our registrar. The best way seniors can protect themselves against construction fraud is to check a license on our website and always get at least 3 bids. And this really comes down to the heart of the Senior Scam Stopper and consumer protection as a whole. The best way that seniors can protect themselves from these scammers is being empowered and educated to make the best decisions for themselves. And again, if you know someone that may benefit from this information who may not necessarily be able to attend themselves, I do have some resources in the back for you guys to stop by at the end of the presentation, and I'll be there to answer questions as well. And thank you everyone for coming. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Sally Westlake.